House of Representatives summons Minister of Finance, CBN Governor over insufficiency of projected revenue to fund 2024 budget. House dismisses petition over former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. And House engages citizens and civil society organizations on 2024 budget and appropriation process. Hello and thank you for joining us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor as a welcome. The House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation has described projected revenues in the 2024 appropriation bill as insufficient to fund the budget for the next fiscal year. Now, the committee has therefore summoned the Minister of Finance, Governor of the Central Bank, and heads of government-owned enterprises to provide further insights into projected revenue targets.
I believe that you give us more.
The objective of this engagement with the Minister of Budget and National Planning is to highlight key issues in relation to the preparation, enactment, and implementation of the 2024 budget.
We studied the budget, fantastic budget, brilliant, but we need funding from GOEs. Their declaration, honestly, for us is not enough.
The minister emphasizes that the removal of fuel subsidy and liberalization of the foreign exchange market helped the federal government to arrive at ambitious capital expenditure for the next fiscal year. But more, he says, is expected from revenue-generating agencies.
Globally, revenue that we collect as a proportion of GDP is about 10%. Mr. President has expressed the confidence, the directive that we must raise it to at least 18%. 18% is big, but it's still lower than the global average.
What we need to do to focus on is debt service to revenue, which is very high. That's why I said the discussions about revenue, we can't stop talking about them enough.
The committee turned back representatives of the CBN, Customs, and FIROS, demanding their chief executives to appear in person. Meanwhile, the House Committee on FCT Area Councils and Ancillary Matters has canvassed provision of critical infrastructure in the suburbs of the nation's capital during an interactive session with the Minister of State FCT, Maria Mahmood.
We will work together towards the development and betterment of residents of the territory and also visitors alike.
The committee says it will continue to legislate on policies that will accelerate development across the FCT area councils.
The House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions has dismissed a petition by civil society organization Center for Social Justice, Equity and Transparency, alleging that EFCC and DSS operatives attempted to forcefully remove former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele from lawful custody of the Nigerian Correctional Service in Kuje, Abuja. The matter, Chairman of the House Committee Mike Ateba says, is before a competent court of law and cannot be entertained by the House.
The House Committee's decision to dismiss the petition alleging an attempt to abduct the former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele from custody was also hinged on the testimony of the Nigeria Correctional Service that Emefiele is still in custody, having been unable to fulfill his bail conditions.
As far as we are concerned, we are not aware of any alleged attempt to forcefully release Dr. Emefiele. Emefiele is still in our custody, bubbling.
If the petitioners, they think they have a locus to make a case on behalf of Emefiele, the appropriate forum, sir, is to bring it to the attention of the court. They can have recourse to the use of Form 48 for contempt of court or other lawful means by which the court can call the errant law enforcement agencies to order.
This matter is in court. We can't forge ahead with this matter because it's sub judice for us. This matter is hereby dismissed from this committee.
Perhaps they didn't bother to go through our petition. Our petition has nothing to do with the pendency of the suit before Godwin Emefiele.
At its inaugural sitting, the House Committee on Public Sector and Institutional Reforms says it will promote the enactment of laws that will grant independence to public institutions for effective service delivery.
The key institutions of government such as Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Judiciary, Nigerian Correctional Service, the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, among other contemporary and contextual needs, will be examined with a view to reform where needed.
Meanwhile, former lawmakers in the aborted Third Republic have appealed to President Tinubu and the leadership of the 10th National Assembly to facilitate the payment of salaries and allowances owed them 31 years ago. This was when they visited one of their own, Fred Agbedi, now re-elected into the 10th Assembly.
The House of Representatives has engaged citizens and civil society organizations in a town hall meeting to get their inputs into the 2024 budget and appropriation process. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas at the opening of the citizens' engagement expressed commitment of the National Assembly to address the hardship in the country through a transparent and inclusive 2024 budget.
Citizens are in this town hall meeting to deliberate on the 2024 budget estimates, represented by leaders of civil society and pressure groups.
Most of the civil societies organizations who are here today have come with different priorities on what they feel should reflect in the budget.
How does it impact on the ordinary Nigerian? That's what we want to see come into this budget.
This is in line with the open parliament policy of the 10th House of Representatives.
To provide you with the opportunity of participation, making inputs, and telling the rest of Nigeria the new dimension of budget process.
I think we still haven't gotten it right in terms of ensuring that our budgets address the issue of wastages, focus on development, without what is not necessary.
From today, let everyone be educated. That's not like padding in Nigerian budgeting system. And let's get everybody once and for all. This power resides in the National Assembly.
Speaker Tajuddin Abbas says this approach of engaging citizens in the budget process will be sustained to eliminate duplication of projects and programs in order to meet the yearnings of Nigerians.
On our part, the House will review the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 to strengthen existing provisions, to improve access to information and public consultation during all phases of the budget.
The focus will be on strategic investments in defense, health, job creation.
This approach to the national budget and appropriation process will lead to a greater inclusivity, improve the budget performance and accountability.
In all, the objective is to ensure that the budget, when passed, is owned by the people.
Educationists have been lamenting the allocation of 2.18 trillion naira to the sector in the proposed 2024 budget, which amounts to 7.9% of the whole. Now, what issues is this appropriation up against, and how can they be surmounted? You and your reps engaged Chair of the House Committee on University Education, Abubakar Fulata.
Budgets, no matter how beautiful they look, they are mere statements of intention, anticipation based on what revenue is expected to be generated, and therefore all the calculations are factored into expectations. It is possible that government will reach its target. It's also possible that government may face some shortfalls. It's also possible that, yes, those expectations could be met depending on the situation, because most of the things, revenues to be generated, are based on crude oil production and sales. These sales could go up, the price could go up or down. The same thing also goes for the production. It's possible that the government may exceed the production target of 1.6 million, 1.7 million barrels per day. It may exceed that target. It may also not, can also fall short of this. So otherwise, it's a very beautiful document. And we are hopeful that if the government is able to meet its targets, Nigerians will be better for it. The amount so budgeted, about 1.1 trillion to education, in the budget of 27, is not adequate. More so that about 857 billion is allocated just for the current expenditure of the education sector. And then 265 billion allocated for capital. The universities, polytechnics, federal colleges of education, primary schools, secondary schools, even though the federal government does not operate secondary school, but it operates secondary schools. The challenges are enormous. There's mass exodus of teachers from the teaching profession. Especially universities are worse off because of this IPPS, which is a single-minded computer program that does not take into consideration the unique situation of universities and polytechnics. Universities are supposed to hire intellectuals from all over the world and pay them to teach. With this IPPS, no university can afford to hire anybody from anywhere. In fact, universities are finding it extremely difficult to attract scholars, even on sabbatical, 1 year sabbatical, because they don't have the money to pay, and the IPPS does not recognize sabbatical. So the situation is really absurd, and the only solution is to remove universities and tertiary institutions from IPPS. I have engaged with the leadership of ICANN. They told me that yes, there's an alternative to IPPS. You can engage an alternative program which recognizes the unique position of universities and tertiary institutions, and successfully block all leakages and have a smooth financial system of the tertiary institutions. If an emergency is not declared on education, we are going to have a disaster in our hands.
We also spoke with Chair of the House Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, Kanismo Nwachukwu, for his thoughts on the 2024 appropriation bill.
After the inauguration, I told my colleagues that are members of the committee that we have to work closely with each other and have a great synergy, collaboration, partnership, and equally have a mutual respect for each other. By so doing that, it will create a very fine harmony and fine atmosphere for us to operate freely and operate in a manner that at the end of the day, the essence of creating such committee and appointing us to man such committee, Nigerians will have something good at the end of the day from such a committee. And We have started making arrangement of maybe by next week we'll have the budget thing because we'll have a kind of a joint section with our brothers and our leaders from the Senate. I've already spoke with the Senate Committee Chairman on Intergovernmental Affairs, who has already agreed that he will talk to me for us to have a kind of interface and engagement one-on-one for us to have a very fine agreement and arrangement on how to execute the budget issue without having any hitch. I saw diversification. When you look at that particular budget, you know, right from onset, we run a money economy. Yeah, we run a money economy because everything is based, everything is anchored on what we could get or what we could achieve or what we could grab from petroleum product or crude oil and all that. The moment there is a little issue in terms of sales, or when it has dropped, the price of crude oil has dropped per barrel, then it begins to affect every other thing we are doing in this country. But I saw a balancing and try to diversify so that every other aspect of economy would thrive. So by so doing that, people will have a sigh of relief. So the budget he presented to Nigerians is something that could trigger a lot of positive reactions economic wise. It is realistic because if you go to even let me say the black market, now what was obtainable then is not what is happening now. It is gradually nosediving. I'm talking of black market now. Before he must have, or the operatives on the economic affairs must have studied that and peg it to 750 naira per dollar. I believe it will concur in totality to what is going to happen at the end of the day.
An ad hoc committee is usually put up to perform quick tasks in corporate environments. But how does this differ or align with procedures in a legislature? We asked Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, for answers.
Committees are ad hoc. That's the meaning. They are short term, they are temporal, they are set up just to look at a particular issue and nothing more. And most of the times they are time bound. Here in the House of Representatives, it's usually about 4 weeks. Some could be a little more. And the law, the standing orders provide that they could ask for extension. But there's a limit to which all that can go. Otherwise, another committee will become a standing committee, and for most cases, the presiding officer would eventually step in, and so that time is over. You must turn in your report. So they turn in their report, and for further legislative action.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment takes a look at public service matters. Our chair of the committee, Sani Umar Bala, speaks on state of affairs in the sector and the 2024 appropriation.
Public Service Committee entails the oversight of the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation, the Federal Civil Service Commission, the Public Service Reforms, the Public Service Institute. You have also Staff House and Loans Board in the Office of the Head of Service. You have the Administrative Staff College at Badagry, Lagos, and 6 other federal training centers that are separate throughout the 6 geopolitical zones. They are all under the purview of the Public Service Matters Committee. Happy with the presentation made by the President, especially though despite all odds, because of the issues that has to do with the maybe the payment of the servicing of the debt and what have you, and even the expected negative thing that will come out of the budget. But still, so far so good. We are very happy with the presentation, and I think so far so good with the budget of 27.5 and security taking the the highest allocation. That means that especially we that are in the north and some of us that in the south, our brothers that are in the south, is with the prevalent security situation. That means the president has recognized that there is a need to take a very tentative action to ensure that security of the country is enhanced. And even during the contribution I've made to the budget defense in the Hello Chamber, I think the issue of discussion I raised was the issue of on the issue of security and agriculture, and in relation with the security of our borders. In the 9th Assembly, I came with a motion of trying to secure the borders. So the president is in his capacity has come on with food security, emergency on food security, which I call in the 9th Assembly for that. Let's start first with the National Assembly Service Commission. This commission is in rated appointment with payment of exorbitant price each yearly. They pay for rent. And I think in the 9th Assembly there was this thing, because we have an allocation of land. You can just see it just by my office. Allocation of land by the FCT since the exception of the National Assembly in the 3 arm zone. So, but they were not able to start anything on it. So in the 9th Assembly, I think the administration, the former presiding officers, saw based on our input and advice to them, saw the need for them to start to kickstart the building. So from the presentation of the National Assembly, there is a chunk of money submitted for the completion of that headquarters. Also, there are other things that has to do with the issue of maybe ASCON one, because of the electricity supply. So we are trying to see how in the budget they will be carried along to provide solar system as an alternative to the electricity supply into the campus of the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, and also the Public Service Institute here in along Kubwa Road. While every other things that has to do with the Federal Civil Service Commission, I think we don't have much complaint on the issue of finances and the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation too. So I think all is well with us. And the little that we can be able to augment here, I think we don't have much problem to do that.
Now, how much this budget will do to turn things around, we'll have to wait and see. That's where we leave it on You and Your Reps. We thank you for being there. I am Victor, as well. See you next time.